for having me here today. I'm going to talk a little bit about myself and then we'll start the lesson. So I live in Dubai, but I come from Miami, Florida in the US. And Adil was telling me that Nepal has the most natural water resources in the world. Well, where I'm from in Florida, we have aquifers that are down in the ground that also the water filters through the aquifer and cleans the water, and that's where our water comes from. So we also are one of the countries that are blessed to have lots of water. There are many places in the world that don't have lots of water. Has anybody here ever been to Dubai? Do you know about Dubai? In Dubai, they have to take the water from the sea. And they take the water from the sea and they take out the salt. You know, the sea water has lots of salt, right? Yes. So they take the water out, the salt out from the sea water, and then from there, they get the water to drink. Because they do not have these waters from the streams in the mountains like here in Nepal, and they do not have the water aquifers like we do in Florida. They do have some water deep down in the ground, but a lot of that water is gone. So most of the water comes from the sea, and they desalinate it. That means to take the salt out of the water. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes? Okay. And so this is very important because there are places in the world that all of the water or most of the water is not potable. Do you know that word, potable? Potable means it's water that you can drink, right? And we need water for nourishment, right? Because our bodies are mostly made out of water, right? And we, as people, need water. And the food that we eat, right, needs water. And the trees that give us shade and beauty also need water, and they give us fruit. Our nourishment comes from the plants and the trees. And that's why we need water, to feed the trees, to feed our bodies. Yes? And so it's important that we protect the water, that we conserve the water, right? Do you practice any water conservation at home? Do you practice saving water at home? Like when you drink water, you ask for this much water or this much water? Help me here. Yes? So at home, what do you do to conserve water? What do you do to save water? You drink less?
Yes.
When you brush your teeth, everybody brushes their teeth, right?
Yes.
You turn off no water running, right? You wash your hands. Yes, you use little water to wash your hands. Yes? Okay, so that's ways to conserve water. But how do we keep the water clean? Like, can we go to the river now? Can we go to the river now?
We can go.
So we go to the river here, yes? And we go look at the water in the river, yes? Okay.
9.
Plastics, waste products,
Drainage,
sewage,
okay?
and many more so.
Yes. And when you drink water, what color is the water?
White.
White.
Colorless.
Clear,
Yeah.
right? This water is not clear, right?
Yes.
What do you smell?
Very dark.
When you drink water, does it smell?
No, it is
No.
odorless.
Because it's odorless, right? See, you
Yeah.
all are very smart.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're talking about water today, but one of the major problems with water is pollution.
Yes.
And so, as you are all almost adults, right? It's very important to teach your family members, to teach your parents, to teach your brothers and sisters, to teach your friends how important it is to make sure not to throw the garbage in the water. And so this is a major part. Do you all have iPhones?
Yes.
iPads? Computer?
Yes.
Yes. You know iPhone.
Yes.
No phones, right? Do you know what whales? Have you seen whales?
Yes.
Okay, so whales are very big, right?
Yes.
The whales are dying in the oceans because they are swallowing the plastic and the garbage that's in the ocean. Okay, it's not a good thing. Okay, so it's important that, again, we teach our brothers and sisters, our friends, how important it is to always pick up the garbage and put it in a place so it doesn't go to the rivers, so that we can swim in the rivers, right? Like to swim have you ever swum in the river?
Yes.
It's very nice, right? Would you swim in this?
No.
So even though we live in the city, if we practice cleaning up after ourselves, and if we practice teaching others how. Okay, so as we were saying, we can teach our families and our friends that if you see somebody with garbage, and sometimes I see it, even my family, sometimes my son wants to throw the garbage out the window. I say, no, you bring home and you put in the garbage at home, yes? So you can teach that, right? It's your duty to teach that. If you want to continue to swim in beautiful rivers, right, then you need to protect the waters even in the cities, right? Yes? So, what will you do when you go home today and to teach somebody what you learned or what we talked about? You were going to say something. It's important. It's called a... Yes? Say, you here, each of you, have the ability to be what we call an agency of change or an environmental steward. In other words, each of you be someone who protects the earth, right?
Yes.
You love the earth, right?
Yes.
That's me too. You love nature?
Yes.
You have to, because Nepal is such a beautiful place, right?
Yes.
But to stay beautiful, we have to do our part. You do your part, you do yours, you do yours. So I want you to tell me what you will do today to protect the earth. What will you do to conserve water? Tell me something, yes? Awareness programs, there you go. So give me some examples.
By not using plastics.
By not using plastics. But what do you do when you do use plastics? Do you have plastics at home?
Paper bag.
You try to use more paper bags? Yes. But even the paper bags can be dirty, but they are biodegradable. Do you know what that means?
Yes.
Perfect, you all are brilliant. You know all this stuff, right?
Yes.
This is fantastic. So what else can you do? What else can you do at home? What do you do with your fruits and vegetables, like the seeds and the leftovers, the banana peels? Do you compost?
By making different dustbin, like for biodegradable waste one dustbin and non-biodegradable waste another dustbin.
That's great. Yes, so you are sorting. We call that sorting, right? We put the plastics in one bin, we put the biodegradables in another bin, and with those biodegradables, what do we make? Fertilizers and compost. This is fantastic. They know all this stuff already, right? This is fantastic. So what can you share with me? Have you worked on some projects? Do you do projects at the school about sustainability? Can you give me an example? Yes?
We clean our school surrounding.
That's where it all begins. It begins in your surroundings. Yes, because when you take care of your surroundings, it shows that you love your surroundings, and that's what we do with the earth. We need to show the earth that we love it by taking care of our surroundings. That's great. That's great. Anyone else? Let's walk. Walking is good, right?
Yes.
Only two sounds that you hear.
Water flowing, vehicles.
That fan right there, right? That's noise pollution, right?
Yes.
This is soothing, right?
Yes.
So we talked about the clarity of the water. We talked about the water when it's dirty is not clear. We talked about the smell of the water, but the sound of the water. So that's really important too, because when we hear the sound of the water, even when has anybody here been to the ocean?
No.
When you hear the waves in the ocean, it also makes a beautiful sound that's soothing to the heart. So these are reasons why it's also important to take care of the environment and to protect our water, right? Because when we protect our water, we're also protecting our bodies. So I think that's all, right? So let's protect our water and protect the environment, and that's all. Thank you. Or I can answer some questions. Do you have any questions? You can ask anything, even if it's not about the water. Come closer so I can hear you.
Can you give some solution for us for keeping our surroundings clean?
Yes, well, solutions, very good questions. He wants solutions for keeping our surroundings clean. That means that when you buy something, like from the grocery store, and you walk somewhere, or you're in a car, or you're at home, you don't throw your garbage anywhere, right? Keep it with you and put it in a safe place, right? The garbage needs to be stored in a safe place and put to a place where others can take care of it, either dispose of it properly, or even better is to buy products, right? Like the paper bags, and to, like food, food, make the compost. This is better solution than buying things with plastic, right? When you use organic foods, you don't have plastic, right? Sometimes, like when I go to Dubai, you can buy a fruit alone, or you can buy fruit in a package. I don't like to buy fruit in a package because then I have to put the garbage somewhere and I don't know where the garbage will go, right? So best to buy fruit that's alone, not in a package. Best to buy foods not in a package, right? If you can. It's healthier too, right? And healthier for the environment. So those are some solutions. So buy products that have no packaging or less packaging. If you have a product that has packaging, then be sure to put that packaging in a safe place so you can dispose of it. Throw it away in a proper place, right? I didn't tell you, but I teach university students I teach them about sustainability and building homes in the environment, building buildings for offices, hotels and restaurants and different types of buildings, and how to build sustainably so they don't damage the environment, right? Because even construction can cause a lot of damage. You know, there's a lot of construction here causes a lot of dust, right? And that's not good for the environment. But construction comes with packaging too, just like your food, right? And all the products that you get. So if you can reduce the packaging or not have any packaging at all, that's even better, right? So I teach my students to not, how do I say, to think carefully about what you choose when you build a home and what you choose when you eat, so that you have less waste, right? So that's one of the basic ways that all people can contribute to having cleaner water, is to have less waste and dispose of waste, throw away the waste in a proper place. Yes? Is that good? Yes. That's good. Any more questions? It can be anything. It doesn't have to be about. Do you have any questions that you want to know about what I do or anything else?
You can say about sustainable development, what you are doing, what you are working for.
So as I said, I teach my students about designing sustainably, about the products they choose, because sometimes the products also have smells. You can smell a toxic product. You know that word, toxic. You can smell the toxic part, just like that smells bad, right? It does not smell healthy. There are products that you buy for the home. If they smell bad, do not buy that product. It's better to use natural materials. Yes? There's also something called sustainable harvesting, which means that you buy products from a business or organization that harvests products sustainably. Do you know what deforestation is?
Yes.
Yes. So that means they don't just cut down everything in the forest, because they want to protect the habitat, right? And they want to protect, the animals and the creatures that live there, because they also help create the balance on the earth, right? And so sustainable harvesting is important. And so that's one of the things that I teach my students to do. There's also something else, and this is where I do bad, because I travel to Nepal. I travel on the airplane when I go home to Miami, Florida. And when you travel on the airplane, you create carbon emissions. You've heard about the carbon emissions? Okay, that's this. When you have in the car and that gas?
Yes.
Yeah, and the burning of the gas, the exhaust, that creates carbon emissions, which is not healthy for the environment, not healthy for the atmosphere. So when I fly, I do bad. And so this is where it's hard, because sometimes if you live in a place where there's no water, you have to do things so that you can have water. If you want to travel to see new cultures, which I like to do, because I also want to teach what I know to others so they can learn. And so sometimes I travel to do that. And so to do that, I create carbon emissions. So it's important to try to keep a balance, right? I teach you a new word. Do you know the word biocapacity? Do you know that word?
No.
Do you know the word biology?
Yes.
Right? Do you know the word capacity?
Yes.
Okay, so biocapacity is the ability, the capacity of the earth to produce enough for the people to have the food that they need, to have the water that they need. But because there is big population on the earth, and because some people use more, okay, they use more than they need, then the biocapacity changes. It's not balanced anymore, right? And you know, in yoga, it's all about balance, right?
Yes.
So it's important to maintain that balance. It's even important to have more natural resources if we can. So biocapacity is the ability of the earth, of nature, to maintain the balance. But the humans, if we disrupt that balance, then the earth cannot produce what it needs in order for us to have that balance. So we as human beings must play our role to make sure that we don't change the biocapacity of the earth. Do you understand?
Yes.
Yes? Okay, good. So you learned a new word, biocapacity,
Yes.
right? So always help the earth to maintain its biocapacity. Yes. Okay, I think that's it. We'll finish, unless there's any more questions. That's
Thank you,
good.
ma'am,
That's
for
long
your
enough.
kind information.
Thank you so much.